In the golden haze of a late summer afternoon, where the vast plains of Montana stretched out like an endless sea of amber waves under a sky so blue it hurt to look at it too long, Emily Harper stepped off the dusty bus that had carried her from the bustling chaos of New York City to this remote corner of the world, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation as she clutched her worn leather suitcase, the one her grandmother had given her before she passed, filled with dreams of escape and reinvention after a brutal breakup that had left her questioning everything about her life in the concrete jungle, where relationships were as fleeting as taxi rides and love felt like a commodity traded on Wall Street. Now, at 25, with her dark hair tied in a loose bun and her city clothes, a simple white sundress that fluttered in the warm breeze, feeling utterly out of place amid the rugged landscape dotted with grazing cattle and distant windmills spinning lazily like sentinels of the Old West, she scanned the horizon for the pickup truck that was supposed to meet her, the ad for the ranch hand position having promised adventure, hard work, and a chance to reconnect with nature, something she desperately needed after years of staring at screens and navigating crowded subways, her pale skin already prickling under the unrelenting sun that seemed to bake the earth into a crisp, golden crust. And as she waited, wiping sweat from her brow, a cloud of dust rose in the distance, heralding the approach of a weathered Ford truck, its engine rumbling like a contented beast, and behind the wheel sat Jack Thornton, the rancher whose deep voice had interviewed her over a crackling phone line weeks ago, his profile sharp and handsome even from afar, with a stubbled jaw that spoke of days spent under the sun, and a cowboy hat tipped low over eyes that she imagined were as piercing as the eagles soaring overhead. As the truck pulled up, gravel crunching under tires worn. From countless miles, Jack stepped out, his boots hitting the ground with authority, his faded blue jeans hugging muscular legs, honed from years of riding horses and mending fences, a red bandana tied around his neck like a badge of honor, and a denim shirt rolled up to reveal forearms tanned and veined from labor, his presence immediately commanding yet somehow reassuring, and when he extended a calloused hand to shake hers, his grip firm but gentle, Emily felt a spark that traveled up her arm, making her cheeks flush, as he said in a low, gravelly drawl, "Welcome to Whispering Winds, Miss Harper." Hope the trip wasn't too rough, his eyes a striking shade of hazel flecked with gold, locking onto hers with an intensity that made her stomach flip, and she stammered a reply, "It's Emily," and no, it was fine, just long, trying to ignore how his scent, a mix of leather, hay, and something distinctly masculine, wafted over her, stirring unfamiliar sensations in her core. He loaded her suitcase into the bed of the truck with effortless strength, his biceps flexing under the shirt, and as they drove toward the ranch, the wind whipping through the open windows, Jack pointed out landmarks. The old barn where his grandfather had started the operation, the creek that ran dry in summer but swelled in spring, and the herd of horses grazing peacefully, their coats gleaming in the sunlight, and Emily listened raptly, her city cynicism melting away with each mile, replaced by a budding curiosity about this man who seemed so at one with the land, his stories laced with humor and wisdom, like the time a storm had flooded the pastures and he'd spent all night rescuing calves, or how he'd inherited the ranch after his parents' passing, turning it into a thriving haven despite the odds stacked against small operations in these modern times. Arriving at the ranch house, a sturdy two-story structure of weathered wood with a wraparound porch adorned with rocking chairs and hanging flower baskets buzzing with bees, Emily was shown to her quarters, a cozy room in the guest cabin with a quilted bed, a small desk, and a window overlooking the fields where the sun was beginning to dip, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. And after settling in, she joined Jack for dinner at the main house, where he cooked a simple meal of steak, potatoes, and fresh corn from the garden, the flavors exploding on her tongue like nothing she'd tasted in the city delis. and over glasses of whiskey by the fireplace, as crackling logs sent sparks dancing upward, they talked late into the night, Emily sharing her reasons for coming, the heartbreak from her ex who had cheated with her best friend, the suffocating pressure of her marketing job, the desire for something real and tangible, and Jack nodding understandingly, his own tales of loss revealing a vulnerability beneath his rugged exterior, like the wife who had left him years ago for the lights of Las Vegas, unable to handle the isolation, leaving him to mend his heart amid the solitude of the ranch. And as the conversation flowed, Emily found herself drawn to him, his laughter deep and genuine, his gaze lingering a fraction too long on her lips, making her pulse quicken. The next morning dawned bright and early, with roosters crowing and the smell of coffee brewing, and Jack assigned her first tasks, feeding the chickens, collecting eggs, and then helping with the horses, leading her to the stables where the air was thick with the scent of hay and manure, and he introduced her to Willow, a gentle mare with a glossy chestnut coat, teaching her how to brush the horse's mane, his hands guiding hers with patience, his body close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from him, and when she fumbled with the bridle, he chuckled softly. "Easy now. It's your first time. Take it slow," his words innocent yet sending a shiver down her spine, foreshadowing something deeper as the days blurred into a routine of hard work. And quiet moments, Emily's body adapted to the labor, her muscles aching but growing stronger, her skin tanning under the sun, and her interactions with Jack grew more charged, like the time they repaired a fence together, sweat dripping down their necks, and his shirt clung to his chest, outlining every ridge and valley, or when they rode out to check the cattle, her on Willow and him on his stallion Thunder, the wind in their hair as they galloped across the plains, laughter echoing, and stopping by a secluded pond for a break, where he stripped off his shirt to splash water on his face, revealing a torso sculpted by years of toil, scars from old injuries adding to his allure, and Emily couldn't help but stare, her breath catching as he caught her eye and smiled knowingly. One evening, after a particularly grueling day of baling hay, with storm clouds gathering on the horizon, promising rain, they sought shelter in the barn, the air heavy with the scent of impending downpour, and as thunder rumbled in the distance, Jack turned to her, his expression serious yet tender. "You've done good here, Emily, better than most city folk." And she blushed, replying, "Thanks to you," their faces inches apart, the tension crackling like the lightning outside, and in that moment he leaned in, his lips brushing hers in a kiss that started soft but ignited into passion, his hands roaming her back, pulling her close, and she melted into him, her fingers tangling in his hair, the world fading away until only they existed in the dim light of the barn. But as things heated up, his touch exploring further, sliding under her dress to caress her thigh, Emily pulled back slightly, whispering breathlessly, "Wait, Jack. This is my first time," her voice trembling with a mix of fear and desire, and he paused, his eyes searching hers, a gentle smile forming as he whispered back, "Easy. It'll be over quick if you want, but I promise to make it right," his words both reassuring and thrilling. And as the rain began to patter on the roof, he guided her to a pile of fresh hay, their bodies intertwining in a dance as old as time, the rancher slipping into her world in more ways than one, marking the beginning of a powerful connection forged in the heart of the wilderness, where vulnerability met strength, and innocence gave way to awakening, leaving Emily forever changed under the vast Montana sky.